in the morning. Wake up.
AM Mayhem. Always lit. With SVG's #1. Too Cool Chris.
All righty then, it is 8 o'clock in the morning. Dr. Vaughan. Dr. Vaughan. Luke tried to deafen it, so you had to tax him for that. They tried to make you put on the thing there with a hot head and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's Luke. So let me just.
We are joined by Vinlec this morning, as Chris said, Dr. Vaughan Lewis, and we have, some major things to talk about. One of which, Cumberland 3 hydro plant.
Yes.
That's the correct term?
Decommissioning of Cumberland 3 hydro.
The decommission of the Cumberland 3 hydro plant. So run us through why it's being decommissioned.
Okay. Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We sent out a release last week talking about the decommissioning of the generators at Cumberland 3 hydro power station.
Right. Headphones.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. Cumberland 3 hydropower station is one of 3 hydro power stations in the Cumberland Valley. We have a cascade systems where we have 2 larger hydropower stations further up the mountain, and the one closer to the sea, which most people see from the main road, that's Cumberland 3.
Right.
And that produces the least amount of electricity. But the pipeline that serves that power station, it runs through the Spring Village community. And as the population of the Spring Village community has grown, the population has come closer to the pipeline. So we have determined that it is unsafe to continue to operate the pipeline because in the event of a pipeline blowout, it can cause serious damage to property and life. We also had a town hall meeting in Spring Village a couple of months ago where persons complained about, we use wood staves, the wood pipeline, and the pipeline is close to the end of its life. And we have to replace it with new wood staves.
Okay.
Now, when the wood staves are new, they emit an odor, and this odor can be quite strong. With the proximity of the community to the pipeline and relatively new wood staves, it becomes a nuisance. It becomes intolerable for some persons. So it's a safety issue. It's a potential health issue because some persons won't be able to tolerate the smell. And interestingly, when we were there, persons also complained about the lack of the ability to use the river during the dry season because we take water to generate electricity. So they were concerned, they were asking us to leave more water in the river so that they can do their washing and recreational activities.
Right.
So when we looked at all the alternatives, it's difficult to find a different route to run the pipeline. In fact, about 12 years ago, an external consultant suggested we dig up the road, the public road, and run the pipeline in the road. It's just not feasible for us to do that. It's not feasible for us to use new materials or different materials that could be more durable than wood. It's actually cheaper for us to build solar farms to replace the lost energy from the hydro,
right,
than to try to find alternative routes. So we are shutting down the generators at the power station. The compound would remain open because at that compound, we remotely run Cumberland 1 and 2, which are further up the mountain. And we also remotely run the Richmond power station. So the persons who operate from that building, they will remain there.
Right.
And there are other activities, maintenance activities that are based on that compound. So the compound would remain operational.
Right.
But the generators at the compound would be shut down because we are decommissioning the pipeline.
And that would mean the water would run through the river again
Yes.
for the community. Okay.
Yes, it will.
All right. So I know that as a global mandate, everybody's looking to get into renewable energy, etc. This would be termed as maybe a little bit of a loss, even though I think your report said, your release said it's generates less than 2% of the nation's energy. So is there a plan immediately or relatively immediately to replace that new hydro plant with different renewable energy, as I said, solar?
Yes. Well, we believe in renewable energy.
Mm-hmm.
We have installed solar capacities at our solar panels at our stores building in Kane Hall,
Okay.
the largest building we have there. We installed a solar farm at the Lomans Bay Power Station just over 10 years ago. Well, that solar farm has not been doing well. It has not been performing well for various reasons. And part of our plan to replace the lost capacity is to completely decommission that solar plant and install a new solar plant at Lomans Bay, which would be more fit for purpose at Lomans Bay than the previous one was, and would be approximately triple in size in terms of the output from that station. So when that project is already underway, and the persons who would have passed by Lomans Bay would have seen that all the old panels have been removed, and by the first half, by the end of the first half next year, you would see more panels, a bigger solar farm. The solar panels themselves, they're more efficient, so the output per square foot has increased. Right. So that solar farm alone would account for about 60% of the energy that we have lost from Cumberland 3. We are also working to secure lands at Argyle to put in another 1 megawatt solar farm, which would be bigger than what we have at Lomans Bay. And that will increase our capacity even more. Okay. But also importantly, we are investing significantly in battery storage for mainland St. Vincent. Now, battery storage sets the foundation for two things. One, it allows us to use our diesel generators more efficiently, because as we have more renewable energy on our network, we have to operate our diesel generators less efficiently. So solar power, it's intermittent. It goes up and down. So there's a 1 megawatt solar farm at a 1,000 kilowatt solar farm at Argyle. When the cloud passes over, that can go from 800 kilowatts to 80 kilowatts within seconds. So you don't know that. You continue to demand energy from your applications. So we have to have enough, what we call spinning reserve diesel capacity online to accommodate this fluctuating output from the solar systems. And as solar systems increase, we have to do that. So when we increase renewables on our network, we could actually reduce the fuel efficiency of our generators. So adding the batteries will replace the spinning reserve from the generators, allow us to keep our generators in an efficient zone while accommodating the renewable energies, because the batteries will deal with the fluctuations. The batteries themselves, right now, when we did the analysis, would save us quite a bit of fuel. So just the battery project and the fuel efficiency gains we're getting from the battery project and the solar farm at Lomans Bay will save us some fuel. Will save us fuel and help us to replace what we are losing at Cumberland 3. But the battery storage also sets the platform to allow us to launch significantly more solar power on our network, not only from Vinlec, but allow more private people to put on solar power. Right. So well, we have a question here about this solar for residential. So somebody wants to know, where does a member of the general public find the requirements or code for residential solar installations? Okay. Well, we have guidelines which we have circulated to the solar installers, most of the solar installers in St. Vincent, and persons who want them, we can provide them with that guidelines. And their guidelines at the moment, because the Electricity Supply Act, which was written around the time I was born, and probably way before you were born. Yeah. So it's probably more than likely outdated. Yes. It is being reviewed right now by the Energy Unit, and they're in the process of updating it. It doesn't actually allow persons grid connection. We allow grid connection, but the law requires persons who could potentially put energy onto the network to be issued a license by Vinlec, and a license usually involves a fee. Right. So we don't do that. We allow persons to connect to the grid because we are following the mandate of increasing renewable energy on the network. So there are more formal systems that need to be in place before we move them from guidelines to we feel comfortable moving them from guidelines to legal requirements. Legal requirements, documents, and that is easily available.
With the closing down the Cumberland 3.
Yes.
Would that impact like the light bill, the house, or the light bill of a household? Would that impact?
Yes, it will. I read some comments last week. I'm also Facebook.
Right.
That said that it's going to increase the fuel surcharge by it's going to triple the fuel surcharge. Well, we did a calculation last year using the annual figures of last year.
Right.
And the shutting down of this power station will increase the fuel surcharge by less than a cent. In fact, the monthly variability that you have on the fuel surcharge based on world oil prices is notably more than you will see from this. But bear in mind, by the middle of next year, we are already on target to replace most of that lost generation from the solar farm in Lomans Bay. And we already have proposals for the battery storage project, which optimistically could be online by the end of next year, but most likely would be online in the first half of 2027.
Okay.
Additionally, we continue to allow more and more persons to put solar systems on the network. And every panel that goes onto the network reduces the amount of fuel that we use.
All right. So Camille wants to know, all of this is going to help customers to pay less for the electricity because of the system.
Well, the shutting down is not going to help pay less. But the things that...
There's the solar, etc.
Yes, the solar, the batteries, the foundation that we are laying for more renewable is going to help the public to pay less for electricity. And I wouldn't say that there is going to be a drastic reduction, because we are looking at what is happening in other countries and other islands. There's going to be an incremental reduction as we grow. So
less fuel.
yes.
Awesome.
All right. So just to clarify, that you can get your solar panels in your residential properties beyond the grid, and you guys don't buy back from like this generation. Do you buy it from?
Yes.
You buy it back,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So you do.
Yes.
So who's this? Phil Rack on tour. Yeah, they do buy it back. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so if you have a grid tied system, what happens in the day, especially if you work, your solar panels producing a lot, you're not using a lot in your home, and the excess energy goes back onto the network, and we pay you for that excess energy.
Right.
And in the night when you are home and there's no solar and you are not producing any energy, you're drawing from our network.
Got it. All right. Anything else you want to leave us with before we step out?
Well, I would just like to remind persons that we are in the hurricane season. We are happy to pass by August and September without being threatened by any major storms. But I remember it well. Hurricane Thomas occurred on the 30th of October, 2010. And we are still in the hurricane season. So take all precautions in preparing for storms. Follow NEMO, follow the advice that you get from Vinlec and the agencies, because if we are hit by a storm, most likely you would be out of the essential services for a ride.
Right.
Most likely you can have interruptions, sometimes extended, from water, electricity, and sometimes even access to stores. So be prepared.
All right. There we go.
Right.
That was Dr. Vaughan Lewis.
All right.
Of Vinlec.
And we get any chaos in as we are walking just now. So mommy had to come down.
You're getting a kiosk in Pembroke.
In Pembroke.
And in Pembroke too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So mommy got it.
That's always good. All right. We'll be right back with after these.